Welcome to Whispers to a Bride, where we talk about the stuff no one else is talking about. We are going deep on the emotional aspects of getting married, the stress, drama, and turbulence that affects your own sense of identity and your closest relationships. We are talking about what it means to be a bride and how to navigate this sacred time with more grace and ease. I'm your host, Kara Gassabay. As a life coach and therapist, I'm going to be sharing super practical tips so that you can not only rise to the occasion of your wedding, but also your life. Hello, and welcome back to Whispers to a Bride. I am Kara, and today we are talking about the art of the ask. So, I know a lot of you are in that whole perfectionist, do it yourself, I've got this kind of mentality when it comes to your wedding, because you want to both have control over it and be in charge of it. And also there's a part of you that doesn't want to burden people, doesn't want to let people in, feels like you just want to handle it. That's just how you always have managed things. And you feel like with your wedding, like you've got this. And it can be really hard to ask for help. Now, the problem is when it comes to your wedding, things are going to come up that you do not expect. You're going to have challenges that you did not anticipate. I mean, these can be they'll range from the logistical to the emotional to the relational, right? Some people in your life are going to behave very differently than you expected. Some things are going to go very differently than you expected. Finances might work out very different than you expected. And logistics and timing and friendships. We've talked a million times on this podcast, though, about how things can get really complicated around weddings. And that's why it's even more important than ever to really start to look at why you are having trouble asking for people to help you in a variety of different ways. I just think this is one of those great moments to pause and try to really figure it out and also build that muscle of asking for help. Start to see like what's holding you back and how you can do it in a way that makes you feel good and gets you the help that you need, because spoiler alert, you're going to probably need help in this next chapter of your life, right? Things are going to get more complicated. The more people you add to your life, the more complicated things get, especially if you are going to have kids. You're going to need help in ways that are like hard to explain now. But trust me, you're going to need help, even if you've been a DIY girl and an in charge, boss mentality, type A, whatever it is. I think that your wedding is going to present to you an occasion to ask for help, and your ability to lean into this process and think about it and figure it out is going to set you up so well in the future. And what brought me to this topic today was a post that I saw from Adam Grant. Adam Grant is like an organizational psychologist who works at Wharton at the University of Pennsylvania. Ironically, I went to social work school at the University of Pennsylvania, and our school was right next to Wharton. And so funny, ours was like this little tiny building, and there you have this like incredibly beautiful building. Obviously, Wharton is one of the top business schools. But I was able to lucky enough to take some organizational psych classes there, and it's just fascinating. But anyway, Adam Grant, I did not study under Adam Grant. He's younger than I am. But that department, I just remember always having left such an impression on me, the organizational psych stuff. But anyway, he studies like meaning and motivation and just how we think about things and how we approach things. And he is a great follow on Instagram if you don't follow him already. But he posted the other day about how people are happier to help than we expect. And that when they look at the data, it shows that we tend to overestimate how inconvenienced people will feel and underestimate how valued they will feel. So asking isn't always a burden. It's an opportunity for people to help. And then finally, he says that seeking help is an expression of trust. And that's what I wanted to really remind you today in this moment, is to not see, oh my gosh, I need help, as a sign of you mismanaged your time or you weren't organized or you didn't research enough. I know for a lot of you, that's the first thing you're going to think when you're like, oh my gosh, I need help, was that I didn't plan properly. I didn't do it right. I want you to flip the script on it and think about how asking for help is deepening your relationships. It's building your community. It's giving someone else an opportunity to be of service and of value. We all know, especially you girls listening to me, I know that you love to help people, right? Because it really taps into like a central core part of who you are and your identity as a helpful, useful, generous, loving, kind, connected person. And so I think it's so important that you also realize inviting people in to help you, accepting people's help, is also very, very generous and kind, right? It's the opposite side of that same coin. And I think a lot of us get caught up in just thinking like, oh my gosh, we're burdening people. We shouldn't need help. We should be able to figure this out. But in doing that and staying trapped in that mindset, you're cutting yourself off from all these beautiful moments of connection and of deep, deep bonding that happens when we let people in, when we let people help us, when we let ourselves be vulnerable and open, right? That's where the good stuff comes in. That's where those like relationships of really seeing each other and showing up for each other, that's where it happens. If you've just are all buttoned up and have it all together and don't need a thing from anyone ever, you might think that's like a great way to be in a relationship, but in the end, it's not. People crave a reciprocity. They want to know like, oh, they're not the only ones that need help. We all need help. And that just leveling out of the playing field for everyone is just very reassuring. It's very bonding. And it's because it's very true. In the end, eventually we're all going to need help. So the more you can sort of practice that and let it in, then when those big moments come, it won't be a big crisis for you to let people in. It won't be some new thing you have to figure out how to be vulnerable and let people help you. You'll know how to do it because you've done it before. So I'm asking you to think about how can you think about reaching out and asking for help in an artful way, knowing that it is doing something beautiful. That's why I think about it as the art of the ask. Like, it's not just out of desperation, and it might be born from that, but it's going to be so much more than that. You're creating a beautiful moment when you reach out and ask for help. And then when you receive that help, right? The bond that's happening, the vulnerability that is shared, the allowing someone else to feel useful and valuable and helpful and important, especially around a wedding, you guys. I am telling you, people, especially the bride, people want to be in that nucleus, in that center of it all. There's so much hoopla that goes on around a wedding, and people like to have like that inside track to felt like they were somehow a little bit helpful or a little bit part of it. And I'm telling you, letting them in a way that feels good to you, in a way that you are thoughtful about, is not only going to be wonderful to take some of these things off your plate, but you're doing such a beautiful thing for that other person. That's what I want you to think about today. How are you not reaching out for help? How are you either pretending like you don't need help and you've got it all figured out, or how are you being controlling by not letting people in? There's a couple ways that can happen. And for some of the rest of you, you might just be like, people should know, or people should volunteer, or people should speak up. We're not going to do that. We know that the reading of minds is not a great way to operate with our nearest and dearest, even though they do know us so well. Being very transparent, which requires that vulnerability, is the quickest, best, most graceful way of asking for help. So don't hint, don't wait around, don't think I did it for her, she should do it for me. That's not what we're doing here. We are going to artfully ask for help in a way that lets us get what we need and lets the people that love us really step forward and shine. And so your job is to artfully extend the invitation for help in a way that is specific and loving and open. So that is your challenge today, is think about a way in which you need help. And of course, that includes me. If you feel like you need some help mentally, emotionally, with your relationships, just how to calm down, how to figure something out, how to sort through it, I want you to give yourself that permission to be vulnerable and to ask for the support and the help that you need. So whether that is joining the Bridal Prep Academy, getting my book, or booking a call with me one-on-one, that 1 hour can literally change the entire trajectory of your wedding experience and your life after. That is why I am so passionate about this work, because yes, it's about your wedding experience, but it's about your life. It's about who you are on this planet, how you exist, how you operate, the ability for you to cultivate your own emotional elegance and live in a way that you feel joyful and whole and connected to the people around you. That's what's really, like, this work is really all about. And it's what I so am desperate for all of you to experience. And I just feel like this wedding moment is the moment to give yourself this gift and practice this stuff and cultivate it for yourself. So I will let you go. I am wishing you so much bridal bliss, and you know where to find me, KaraMaureen.com. I'm on Instagram, on TikTok. I cannot wait to hear from you. Until next time, sending you bridal bliss.